Okay, welcome everyone. This is going to be our color guard cleaning webinar. We have Ms. Lois Turnage from Pleasantville and president of the board with us. We're here in Pella. And we have Rachel Wurr. She is the Pella Forte coach, but she is also the color guard director. I don't know what to call it. Director for the Pella Marching Band. For the color guard, which is very successful. So two wonderful individuals to talk through color guard and hopefully help you all with your teams and as you prepare the next 3 weeks before state. So anyway, here are the two of them. And if you do have questions, feel free to use the chat feature. It's at the bottom of your screen, and we'll look for any questions that you do have. Feel free to enter those at any point. Okay, you're on.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. First of all, I'd like to say what an awesome solo weekend we've had, particularly addressing, of course, our color guard soloists. Just really some amazing performances. It's always exciting to see the individual talents and just know that that's carrying back home to the team performances. So congratulations to all of our solo color guard participants on a really outstanding evening of competition this past Friday. What we'd like to do is basically take our ISDTA score sheet, and we know that color guards are coming off of a very full fall season, marching with their bands, performing at various competitions perhaps. Some programs may not do competitive shows or competitive events, but they're still on the field with their band. They're still doing a great job providing that wonderful visual and so on. So we're all coming off of this kind of a fall, and then taking that and shifting gears, if you will, for indoors and for winter guard. So what we want to do is take our ISDTA score sheet, which is located on isdta.net under competition resources. So I would really encourage everyone, no matter your category, to get on there and pull these up, because I will say that this past year we did add some smaller criteria under the main captions. And I think people need to really be aware of what that score sheet has on it and make sure that they are basically sort of like teaching to the test. You're performing and you're designing your show for the score sheet. And because so many of us are coming off of competitive seasons, Rachel has a couple of the score sheets from the fall competitive circuit. Well, just share what you've got.
Yeah, so I have the Iowa High School Music Association one, which is the state contest, which is the one a lot of marching bands go to, even if they aren't competitive at other competitions across the state. And then I have the field band contest, which a lot of the other competitions will use. And for those, it's just broken into 2 categories with 50 points in each category. And so there's the program content, which is what you're putting on the field, what you've chosen to have your color guard do, and how you're holding your equipment and what you're choosing to do as visuals, and then the achievement of how you are executing those moves. And so it's broken into 2 categories, whereas the ISDTA one is broken down a little more specific, but a lot of things cross over. We're just on a completely different stage when we're performing.
Right.
So yeah, we can talk through some of that too.
Right. So what we thought we would do is just take the score sheet, try to highlight some of these different areas and make it relevant to everyone. Of course, obviously, as Andrea said, we're like 3 weeks out. So it's not like somebody sitting at home going, okay, I'm going to write my show now. I mean, you know, I'm thinking that probably all of us have that already done. But of course, we're very much into the rehearsing and the drilling and the polishing and trying to just retain memory and get that control of equipment. And maybe I'm just talking about my team, I'm not sure.
And I think now with it being like 3 weeks out, like if you're going to make a change in anything that you aren't executing at a high level or where you feel is clean, like now would be the time to go ahead and make that change. So they have still quite a few, practices hopefully to clean the new choreography.
And to lock it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So first of all, on our ISDTA is appearance, and that's a 10-point, should be a 10-point gimme, if you will, but it's not always a gimme. So I think that's it. That's critical to highlight. Appearance. It's not only going to be, I think this is also a misconception, that appearance is simply how do they look before anything starts. You know, they come out on the floor, they hit their starting position, whatever that might be, and they think that's all that appearance is. No, it's the appearance throughout the entire show. It's the way that the costume or the uniform or whatever that you're using is either enhancing or distracting from the show. It's maybe hair. How is that distracting or enhancing? Is everyone kind of got the same look? Is everybody's hair the same? And are we doing earrings? Do some have earrings and some not? I mean, things like that. Small things, because we all know that on a football field, our judges for color guard are where?
They're in the box, in the press box.
They're very far away. Our judges are very close. So our judges are going to see every little thing, which is an obvious statement, I suppose, and yet it's something that we really need to remind ourselves about. That it's very close. They're very close to the floor, and this year at Hy-Vee Hall, they're even closer.
Yes.
Color guard is always in Hy-Vee Hall, and I think all of us are kind of used to those judges being back a little bit, and not so this year.
They're going to be right behind the announcer's table.
Okay, so the judges are right behind the announcer's table. We
Just
have
like in
more
Wales.
bleachers. We've brought bleachers into the end zones of the basketball court. So it's going to be different. It's going to be different. I mean, it's going to be very much more, to me, intense probably in terms of
Crowd
where
will
the
be
judges
closer.
are
The
at.
judges will be closer.
So appearance is going to be not just the way, a costume. I mean, it's just going to be the overall look of your guard, your team. Anything you want to add?
I would also say that choosing what silk you're putting on the pole would also go into making
right.
sure that the appearance of the silk matches the style of music you've chosen, and also the costuming. You want to make sure it doesn't blend
Right.
too much so that it does stand out, but that it matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a color thing. I mean, if you're going with a turquoise and, kind of sea green and some of those, and then the costuming is not complementary to that color scheme of the silk, that can be very distracting as well. And so, not to say everybody's got to go out and buy new costumes, but it's just something like that. The other thing is, too, in Hy-Vee Hall, as well as Wells Fargo, we have all that black curtaining all around. And it's really more apparent in Hy-Vee Hall because Wells Fargo has the trophy table and all that kind of stuff, the banners. We have banners at Hy-Vee Hall too. But anyway, there's a lot of black. So your costuming may be black. A lot of our costumes are. But the silk can then really pop against that black if you think about that. Years ago, I'll tell a little story of myself. I did Total Eclipse of the Heart. I thought I was just being so cool with this black. I mean, it was like a double-sided flag thing. I thought I was being so cool with that. And it would have been cool if the backdrop hadn't been black.
white.
Because we sort of lost. Well, whatever. Enough about me. Okay, so.
She's over it.
Yeah, I'm over it. Totally over it. That was a bet. It's like 100 years ago. So appearance, 10 points is not necessarily a gimme. It should be. It should be. But
do put some thought into
yeah, don't take it for granted. Okay, then we move into the choreography and content, which is also interesting in comparing and contrasting it with the marching score sheet. Our content choreography, 15 points, originality, difficulty, musicality, content and composition, variety, suitable music, drill design, and then fits category. Now, the fits category, I'm just going to say, is on every score sheet of every category we have. So, I mean, color guard is probably pretty much if it doesn't fit the color guard category, it's like, that one should be pretty straightforward. But I guess I'd like to talk for just a moment about the difficulty part of that caption of choreography and content. It's very important that all of us, we all want to throw our cool tricks in there and, throw just these wow effects. But if we can't execute it, and when I say we, I mean the collective we of the
Remember.
team on the floor, it's probably not going to gain you points, because generally what ends up happening is the judges will say, I appreciate you wanting to incorporate the difficulty, however, and then they start going off on their recorders and maybe end up missing a whole bunch of other cool stuff that you're doing because they're so focused on blah, 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 that everybody was trying to do a horizontal and not everybody could execute a horizontal, and they were going off on the horizontal and missed boom, boom, and boom that you were trying to do as your performance. I mean, I've seen that happen. I mean, I've had that happen where we've had something has happened and the judge just fixates on that thing, and I'm like, okay, but what about that other? But what can you do? There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. So there's ways of getting around that, and like you had come in and just now that we're into those last 3 weeks of maybe making changes if need be.
Yeah.
There are some ways you can work with that, like maybe take the kids that can do, I'll use horizontal, can do the nice horizontals, maybe put them, you might have to change your formations and your drill a little bit, but maybe put them center and do a little showcasey thing, when then you've got maybe a group here that's doing something very visual, but not maybe quite as difficult.
Highlighting a soloist or an ensemble within the group. Also, sometimes I've learned that it's the preparation into an execution of a toss or a more difficult skill, that sometimes you can lessen that so that they have more time to prepare for the skill, or making it a less rotation or something like that. So you're still executing the skill, but you're making the preparation a little easier so that it makes it easier for your guard to catch it or however you're landing your skill.
Right. So, and even building off of that, what happens after the skill is executed. Yeah, because let's say they toss, they grab, boom, they're off to something else. And they're struggling with that part of it. So maybe just
giving them an extra count.
Take a count or two, do a little head thing or something, or a little look or something like that, and then take off to the next form.
Yep. And one other thing I've learned too with skills is if you're having a hard time with the timing, like not everyone is releasing on the correct count, you can make it a group A, group B thing. And then group A can finish into the next set of choreography that was already there, while group B doesn't execute the next part of choreography. If it's a timing thing, it's like, that looks like a ripple, well, maybe just make it a ripple, or a group work stuff, and then it works out for you.
Right. And the thing about group work too, and again, we know that we're saying things that all of us really know, but sometimes when you hear it,
just knowing that that's okay. It's okay to make the change.
Absolutely, it's okay. Absolutely, it's okay. Yeah, the thing about the group work is that you just want to make sure it's clearly defined on the counts that that's what it's supposed to be, because you never want the judges going, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be because you never want that I'm not sure phrase to enter in.
Both sides to that coin.
Indeed. Indeed, yeah. Content, then choreography and content, variety, mixing it up, drill design, just make movement on the floor, musicality. I think sometimes musicality is something that we tend to overlook or not put as much importance on that. It's vital. To me, it's vital that your equipment work, that's what I find so exciting about Color Guard, is because we have this beautiful silk fabric, and we have this, this advantage of height with our poles, and just the opportunity to just take that music and make it so dramatic and so full, because you've got the body work going on of the performer, and then you have this additional, which of course adds the difficulty, but or whatever. But that's where a great opportunity to use that musicality, that sense of, this is what I'm seeing here, this is what I'm feeling here, and include that into your show. And it's not too late to include elements of that as well. So, just like, you're driving in your car or whatever, or it sounds psycho, but just for some reason, I tend to wake up at around this time of year. I tend to wake up at like 1:30, 2 in the morning, the dog needs out, whatever. And then I come back to bed and just lay there like this. And I just kind of stop and start thinking through our music, and I visualize what we're doing. And sometimes I'll get the best ideas for something at that moment in the middle of the night. So, you do, you just have to kind of think about it and think, I'm going to try that there, and then try it.
Yep.
And it's amazing how that all sometimes.
It's so similar to dance. Like if you hear it in the music, you should see it with your eyes.
Right.
So any little accent, even if it's just them just adding a leg after something or a step or
Or an
just
arm.
shifting the angle of the pole just on one count, if you hear it, you should probably see it visually as well.
Mhm. I think that's another thing that gets ignored is that the head direction and the advantage we have of our judges being so close to make that eye contact and just really, be a little dramatic with those effects. Anything else on choreography and content? Obviously, the choreography is probably pretty well set.
Yeah.
But again, if
Just
there's,
making small alterations
Yeah.
if you need to.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, technique and execution.
Big one.
That's the part we're just like, yeah, you just kind of keep doing it. And every time you practice the toss sections and just pray, can we do it one time when nobody drops or whatever?
I actually, I do that. And I started incorporating the harder sections of our work into our warm-ups. So we stand in a block formation so that I can see the height of everyone's tosses. I can see everyone's preparation. We stand in a straight line and we release tosses together and we do it until we all catch it 2 times in a row. And that's just incorporated into our warm-ups. Yes, it adds sometimes 10 extra minutes if we're going through all of the tosses of the show, but it really helps them feel more confident in it when they get it in their warm-ups. And then when it comes to doing it with the music in the choreography, it clicks a lot quicker.
Right.
And that even goes for just even combinations in the choreography that are difficult or timing is hard. Stand in a block formation so you can see exactly who is maybe it has their hand incorrect or a incorrect angle, and you can fix it right then and there. So,
Right. Yeah, because, and another thing with rehearsing the techniques is we have to be careful we're not ingraining bad habits, like to just say, okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. Okay, do it again. Well, what's breaking down that's causing those issues? And just take that time, as you just said, to analyze, okay, why do we have to do it again? Because somebody's not understanding the count, they're not getting the release on the correct, who knows? You got to kind of take that, kind of dissect it a little bit, and because it's just me talking, but sometimes I think if we just drill over and over and over, we're not really getting to we're not cleaning it up. We're not finding out what the problem is. We're just almost ingraining the problem.
Repetition doesn't always fix it, unfortunately. Sometimes with a timing error, like specifically repetition can fix it. But I even will do like 2 counts. Like if there's a funky move or something like that, I do like that 4 count, and we have checkpoints in everything, and we'll stop on checkpoints instead of like really hit points, but like the passing count, we'll stop on that count to make sure that we're all hitting that on 6 before we're supposed to be here on 7 or whatever it is, so that we hit that together, which also really helps. The girls sometimes get annoyed when we do little sections, but it helps.
Ladies, you have a question?
All right.
Okay, so do you call out the one that is doing it wrong by name or as a whole? So if they're doing it wrong, are you actually addressing the young lady or gentleman?
Right. Well, my team, and we've always been this way, I think it's just a small school thing, but my color guard is also my dance team. So our dance categories that we enter, it's the same kids. And that's the technique that I use when we're doing POM or novelty in this case this year. But yeah, what I will usually do if I see something happening, whether it's in color guard or any of those other things, I'll usually go back and just make a general statement saying, okay, I'll use a color guard example. Okay, when we're hitting that present series, I'm seeing it's blurry there, you guys. I'm not seeing hit. I'm seeing, can we try that again? And so then we try it again. And if it's still there, then I'll say, Susie, I'm not seeing you hit that left present nice and sharp. Can you make sure that's hitting on 5? Almost looks like it's hitting on 6. She's usually cool with that? And because they don't want to be that person. They don't want to be the one that it's like, whoa, Susie's off. You know, they don't want to be that to the audience or whoever's watching. So usually there's not, I mean, you might get a little eye rolling, or you might get a little sort of, well, I thought we were hitting it on 6 or whatever. Well, you know, honestly, it kind of makes Susie look bad to the rest of the group when she argues with, but you just say, well, no, glad we had this opportunity to clarify. It's on count 5. And then we just move on. So I guess for me, to answer your question, I initially do it general, and then I pinpoint.
I do actually very similar. We run the rep, and then if something was a little off, I say, let's do that series of 8 or 16 again, because sometimes it's just a one-time
It's a little glitch, yeah.
But if it's something that's happening every single time, I definitely call out the individual, and you know, you just do it professionally and nicely, and you just, you know, because you want to fix it. And I just make sure that I explain that. I'm like, I'm not calling you out to embarrass you. I'm just calling you out to make sure that you know to fix that count so that we can all be together. Another thing that has helped with that is, I don't know if you have captains or leaders or anything like that, but I'll have like them demonstrate it, and then I'll slowly add in people or take out people if I start with the whole group, so that you start getting smaller groups of people, and then you can really pinpoint. And then it's easier for me, at least, to call them out when it's a smaller group, and then I feel like they know then that it's them when it's a smaller group. They can tell that they were the one. So then it's less pressure on you, maybe, if that's just not something you're super comfortable with yet.
And I don't know too, sometimes, maybe again, this is just me, but we'll be doing something and I'll have them like freeze count 6, or like kind of like what you were saying earlier, or freeze count 3. I want to see where the hands are. I want to see what's going on. Okay. And then I'm going to discover something that's different.
Yep.
So I go, okay, I got some of you like this. I got some of you like this. You know, it's got to be the same. I do it like this because da-da-da. Well, I do it like this because da-da-da. I go, okay, valid. How many do it like this? How many do it like this? Okay, it's this. Or, in some cases, I like it like this, so that's what it's going to be. I mean, sometimes you just have to do that too. And, you know, you just take it on yourself. You know, there's some of you, I get your points. I understand what you're saying. Yes, maybe in a different context, but for this is what I want.
And if you write your own material, then you can definitely just say what it is because you wrote it. But in those cases, I go back to my notes and I go, the choreographer wrote it as over or under or whatever it is. So that's what we're going to do.
Right.
And then
then you got somebody to blame it on.
Yeah. And then it's like, well, we just got to do it like this.
Or you can just say, well, you know what? I know I told you guys this, but I changed my mind. So now it's going to be this. Whatever.
You're the coach. You can make
that's
that call.
right. We can do those things. Okay, so timing and rhythm. I mean, we all know this stuff. Control and use of the equipment. Kind of goes back to what we said earlier. You're not going to get scored. You're not going to get points for what you're attempting. You're going to get points for what you execute. So there's no real advantage to putting something in that you don't feel pretty solid that it's going to get done. And you know, that's so true. We've added aerials this year, and we've had that conversation. Don't let people do aerials if they can't do them. I mean, my gosh, how scary. In one of the venues we were in for dance and solos, a girl biffed it doing her aerial. Well, she was okay. I mean, I looked over at the coach but the girl hopped back up and she was all right. But anyway, yeah, you're not going to get points for what you're attempting.
If you're consistently not executing it how you feel it needs to be done, it probably needs to be altered so that you can get points for that instead of having points taken away for not.
Right.
If the risk is too high and you can't execute it, then it's always best to go back and do an easier version that you know that you can execute well.
Right. Or if you have that one person that's able to do it, then go back to what we talked about earlier with the showcasing or highlighting or whatever. Yeah. Okay, movement. Movement is a 15-point category as well. So spacing and alignment, definition of style, basically meaning everybody, if you're going to do like a jazz run, you're going to do something that's incorporating some body movement and dance work, make sure everybody's doing it the same way. Make sure you're checking feet, leg angles, all that kind of, right, left, all that kind of stuff. It's got to be the same. So.
One thing, especially for us as far as marching on the field, but the direction your body is facing in color guard changes the look of the silk completely. So to me, that is a huge one for guard, is making sure, like, if we're supposed to face the corner, are we turned all the way, but do we twist our torso? Are we to the front? Just making sure, what I call the rectangle, your shoulders to your hips, your whole torso area, everyone consistently is facing the exact same direction, because that can really change how the silk is moving, and just the angle that you're getting from straight on, since your judges sit straight in front of you. Just making sure that rectangle area is facing the same direction.
Right. And then strength of the body positioning. I mean, if you want them to be apart, make sure it's a nice, strong, open stance, not just standing there with their feet apart. I mean, it's got to be very defined. It's got to have a very energy to it. Everything about your body angle needs to be conveying strength and energy and, confidence. Don't just let them stand there. And if the feet are together, they're together. If they're apart, they're apart. There's no middle ground. So be very aware of that. I mean, I think that points are lost from details like that, where maybe the foreclosures or something like that.
The other thing I've heard judges' comments on are, if you do a release, and I'm so not an expert, but if there's a release, where is the hand or hands when you're doing a release or something?
When the equipment's in the
when
air.
Either in the air or you're doing something with just one hand, where's the other hand?
Free arm.
And I don't know if
the dreaded free arm.
The free arm. I usually glue. We use the term glue. And when they glue, the fingers should, unless you want that look, the fingers should be closed and right on the seam of the pant or whatever you're wearing. But and then the tosses,
because that's an easy point deduction or something for a judge to visually see where the free arm is or is not.
Right.
Especially in tossing, because that goes back to your technique, how you're releasing the toss. Is where your hand placement is going. So that can then, go back to your technique score and how you're executing that technique. So the dreaded free arm. A lot of times it gets stuck right here, and I do point the girls out. They laugh at themselves because I video them a lot so they can watch it, and they're always embarrassed. I call this their T-Rex arm, and it always gets here. There's always like two girls that they like release, but somehow I'm like, it needs to go down,
Yeah.
So the free arm, very important.
Yeah, and then we always talk about, they toss it. The sky is falling. I mean, it's gonna come down.
It's gonna come back.
Standing here like this is not gonna make. I mean, just let it come to you. But that's
especially inside because there's no wind.
Yeah, I know.
Outside, it's a whole different.
Outside, outside. But So again, that's going back to just that attention to detail. Just what's going on with the free arm.
So
things like you're doing this. We call that a double butterfly kind of a thing, and then when it switches off to the other hand, then this one is tight. Yeah.
Okay, so I know that in palm, if you drop a palm, you pick it up. Is the same rule for rifles and
Now,
flags?
years ago, if you dropped equipment, I mean, this is so crazy.
It was point deduction.
It was a point deduction, and then a judge had to run out. I mean, we never had it at ISDTA, but I remember years ago, marching competitions, there was someone on the field that had to retrieve it for you and run it out to you. It was so stupid. I know I'm aging myself as I tell this story, but
Get ran over.
Stupid. And then of course the girl, was just doing nothing, or she's doing the air flag. Yeah, right. So I think pretty much, I don't know that anybody places that anymore. Just pick it up. Just pick it up.
Try to stay composed. Stay composed and get back into it. Usually judges will typically comment that you got back in really quick after a mistake. Your recovery is key. So
and don't let your face communicate that you messed up, because that is the giveaway right there. Let's say that you you're doing a group thing. Go 1, go 2, go 3. Okay, and I'm supposed to go 2, and I ended up going 3. And if I'm sitting there like all frowny face or trying to mouth some naughty word or something, that's not good, because that's what they see. They may not have even noticed that I didn't go with the right group, but gosh, if I'm communicating it with my face or my posture or some other expression, I might as well just hold up a sign and say, I'm gonna stop. You can't do that. You've got to keep that face on, and you've got to just, I always try to tell my kids, if you mess up, smile bigger. Just, it should be even a bigger smile. Because you can't get it back. You can't rewind and get it back. So you don't want one to lead to another, to another, to another. And so you just got to move on.
Definitely.
Okay, movement, another thing in there, carriage, basically posture, fluidity, and grace. So this again is where we do a lot of stuff on releve, when we're moving and formation, or conversely, try to get low, and show some different levels there, not just a kind of thing, because indoors, again, you don't need to do that, and you're not having to worry about, can I get through the trumpets before they, turn and face and go off a different direction or whatever. And so it's easier in that regard when you're indoors. You don't have to worry about all the band members.
That is a blessing.
Yes, I know.
So do you choreograph in your formation changes? Is that suggested? Should you
move through your formation changes?
Well, should you be doing
doing
work
right
through your formation
right
changes?
Yeah, you want to make the formation change to not necessarily look like a formation change. It's just, you're doing equipment work, and you're all of a sudden, you just sort of realize that the formation has shifted. Yeah. It'd be like in a palm routine, moving to a formation, whatever. If you're doing things as you move in.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really the same.
Okay.
The same principle. Yeah.
And that adds to your difficulty
right.
too if you're doing work while you're moving forms.
Right.
Because you have to be more aware of your space and your peers.
Yeah.
So that adds
you're
to
because
you
don't want to flag.
Because you have equipment in your hands. Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to go bonk, or have somebody drop something or whatever. So yeah.
And to me, also in that category, like grace and fluidity, like making sure that it looks natural when they're doing it, that it doesn't look awkward or, just
stiff.
uncomfortable. So if that's happening, sometimes it's just a quick hand adjustment or something. So just making sure that it looks natural when they're doing it is a good thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Then they perform it better when they don't feel awkward.
Right. Yes. And really that fluidity aspect kind of goes back to the musicality underneath choreography and content too. And then finally, the general effect and showmanship, again, 15 points. Audience appeal, confidence, energy level, appropriate facial expressions, we kind of already addressed that, projection. So your audience is right there. They're not way up in the bleachers. Some football stadiums are like, my gosh, the bleachers are like, yeah.
Valley Fest is intimidating just because of how high
how high, and you see all those. So, but in our venue for Heidi Hall, they're right there, and you can really draw from the energy from the crowd, or your kids can draw from that energy as well. But you just got to remember that they see you. There's not a percussion line, there's not trumpets and woodwinds and everybody else that they could also be looking at in a marching show. It's just us. It's just, that's all it is. And so you just really got to keep that head direction, that energy level, and keep the chin up and all that kind of stuff, because all of that is going to enter into that. And in marching competition too, the GE score is huge.
Yes.
So
we do contribute to that.
Yeah.
And I clean, start when I'm ready, start to clean showmanship just like I would anything else. So if we get like halfway through the routine and they're not engaged or focused or applying their facials, I stop the music and we start over and we do it again, or we'll rep that section to where they're using their facials. So just again, applying that even to your warm-ups, making them smile through their warm-ups or whatever they are needing to do so that they start rehearsing that way. Is something that's started to really help me. Something that we always are working on is showmanship is for us. So I just start applying it to their warm-ups, and sometimes when they're kind of being silly and funny, like I do a little improv, like, okay, now you're mad, and now you're sad, and now you're really excited, and so just so that they have to learn to like do something different
Change
with
it
their
up.
facials. Yeah,
Right.
on Fun Fridays.
Yeah, there you go.
Only on Friday.
Only on Fridays.
Only on Friday can you do that.
Yeah.
Good.
For
I
fun.
I know.
I have a question.
Yes.
So maybe there's a new color guard coach out there that is new to ISDTA, and we have rules about entrance, prop setup,
Right.
takedown. Can you just talk through that process?
Sure. Well, color guard gets a 2-minute setup time. If you have equipment you need to set, some guards use the floor coverings, which is allowed. You just got to get it done in 2 minutes. So you need quite a crew if you're going to do that. But yeah, if you're setting extra pieces of equipment, I mean, other people can help with that. That's where you get your team helpers involved, or yourself, an assistant, or a few parents, or somebody that knows the routine though. You don't want to be wasting your 2 minutes trying to tell somebody, no, it goes there, no, and then that one goes, I mean, it's like, you don't need that. And so it needs to be somebody, I mean, if you do a parent showcase, if you do, maybe if you have a home basketball game before state, I don't know, state's early this year, so I don't know if there would be those, but who's ever your team helpers, they need to know what their job is, and they need to know what the routine looks like, and all of that, because that 2 minutes can count down pretty quick. And you don't want equipment in the wrong spot. And the girls need to know that the equipment is set where they need it to be, especially if you've got a quick transition or something.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, that you get a 2 minute, and then you get a 2 minute takedown. Now usually takedown is not a big issue. You just grab it and get off. But it's that setup that you really need to make sure that who's ever helping you with that understands very clearly where it goes, what their job is.
And the announcer is announcing
Yes.
time.
Makes her
Yes.
counting down.
Yep.
Yeah, they're counting down. So they'll say you have 1:30. And I think and then it goes to maybe 15-second increments.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah.
They do update you so you know, so you don't have to time it yourself.
Yeah.
But do rehearse it, especially
Uh-huh.
if you're using a floor covering or have multiple pieces of equipment to set, because your guard doesn't need to be stressed out about their equipment,
Yeah.
like Lois was saying. Also, like for when we run palm, for example, like I'll tell a girl to drop her palm in the middle of, so that they practice that.
Nice.
So also with color guard in the fall, I will tell a girl to set her flag in the wrong spot, just during a run through, to see how people
Right.
respond to
How do
that.
you handle it?
And so that's something too, so that they maybe understand where else they can grab equipment from, or how to respond to that. I mean, we hope, of course, that doesn't happen, but just so that you practice that way too,
Right.
once, just so you know.
Right.
But
Exactly.
do practice your entrance next. You're
Yeah.
not judged on it.
Yeah,
You're not
supposedly you're not judged. I mean, it says in the book, you are not judged. Okay, give me a break. The group comes out, the audience sees you, the judges see you, they are forming an opinion.
It's an impression.
It's an
Yes.
entrance.
So in essence, we are being judged.
Yeah.
So
I
make
tell
it
my
good.
kids, as soon as you step through that curtain until the last girl is out, we are on stage. We
Yes.
are bringing it.
Just like
And yeah, you can't just assume, oh, I'm cool until the music starts, who cares? No, if there's people out there with eyes in their head, then they're gonna see you and form an impression. So, sorry.
she's not wrong.
That's good. It's true though.
It
It
is
is
true.
true.
It is true.
Yeah, the dancers may not realize that.
No.
So,
Yeah.
in the
Yep.
guard, yeah.
Just be
Yeah.
ready as soon as you walk onto a performing
Right.
stage. Just be in
Yes.
character.
Yeah.
You are a performer.
And it's that whole attitude of confidence and carriage, and it's like, whoa, we're gonna stick around and watch these guys. They may not have any idea who it is or what anything. They get that vibe that, whoa, these guys look like they might be pretty good. I think let's stick around and watch them. You always want to be the group that they want to stick around and watch,
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
instead of go get a strawberry smoothie or something. Do they still sell those? I think they do.
They do.
Yeah,
Oh,
they do.
yes.
Yeah.
They do.
They're
Anyway.
my favorite.
I don't know. I can't
Do
think
you
of
have other?
any
there
topics
other-
or anything you
Not
else.
really. I
wanna-
mean, this really covers everything.
Mhm.
Just
Are there any other questions right now?
just a tip, just knowing your group and what their strengths are and what they're doing right now, especially since we're so close, go off of that and don't, and do follow your gut and trust your gut. And, if you need to reach out for help or anything, just, does this look okay? Does it not look okay? It's okay. And I just want everyone to know that.
Oh,
it's okay,
yeah.
'cause that-
Totally.
So.
Totally, because you got to get to the point where, okay, I'll speak for myself. You get to the point where I go, oh my gosh, I hate this routine. Everyone else will hate it too. That what am I thinking? This is nuts. I've been doing this for a long time, and I got to say, every year I go through that. So
There's always a moment where you question, like, is this
Really?
going to work out? And so you just got to stick with it.
Yeah, you
Push through.
got
And ask someone else to come watch it.
Yeah,
and they'll
fresh
be-
eyes are always
Absolutely.
great, even if it's just grab a few kids from the cafeteria to come in the gym and watch. It's kind of fun.
When people are watching them, they get a different.
They bring it their game a
yeah,
little bit
a
more.
little
Yeah.
different sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Those are
really good points.
Yeah.
There's no more questions.
All right.
Questions coming in.
Well, best of luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck.
See you in a few weeks, and then we'll all sit around and have a brewski and talk about it.
Have a good night, everyone.
That was good.